Okay, this is a tutorial on how to get the lovely dungeon discoveries and heroic challenges and rewards into Tabletop Simulator. Now, when you get your pledge through or buy these from Loresmyth, they're coming through as PDFs at the moment, and what you will need to do is print them as JPEGs somehow or PNGs. I used my Affinity Publisher software to be able to do that, but you can download JPEG printers that in essence become a printer on your computer, and rather than sending it to a printer, you just send it to that printer and it creates JPEGs for you. So what you need as the end result, let's use Curious Treasures as an example. So it comes through as a PDF. And as you can see, I've had to print them all as JPEGs. Now, I've spoken to Loresmyth about this, and I think they're looking into doing this for us, but in the meantime, you need to print them as JPEGs. And you need all the fronts of the cards and one back, and I'm going to show you how to get them into Tabletop Simulator now. So you need to navigate to wherever your Steam library is. It might be different for you. I've got it on a separate hard drive, not my C drive. But you go to Steam Apps, and then if I remember rightly, I think it's Common, yes, and then find Tabletop Simulator and Modding. There it is, and we're looking at the deck builder. And in here is a little application. So start that up. What we need to do next, instead of doing new deck or open deck, what I like to do is add cards. There you can see previous deck I built was my adventure deck from Wordmill, but today we're going to do some Loresmyth ones. So navigate to my Loresmyth folder. Where are you? There we are. And choose whichever deck you're going to build. So I'm going to do Curious Treasures at the moment. Might be useful actually now to just count how many there are. So what have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51 cards minus the back cards, so we've got 50 cards. So let's highlight all these apart from the back. Yeah, leave that as 10 by 7, and there we go, they're all in there now. Now I don't think you need to do this stage, but I do it just in case. We need to drag our back of the card to that 70 spot. This is how I've seen it done, but then you choose it later, so it might be worth playing around and not doing this, but I don't have the time now, and this is how I've always done it. So I'm going to drag that and just drop it in there. Best save it at the moment. So save deck as, and this is my Curious Treasure. So this is just in case something goes wrong, but you probably won't need to do this stage. Curious Treasure deck. Just save that for now, because what we're going to do next is we're going to export, and you can upload them to Imager by choosing upload image here, but the end result isn't very good in my opinion. It's not a very crisp picture within Tabletop Simulator, so I'm going to show you how to upload it to the cloud within Tabletop Simulator, which is much better. So just have the settings the same as I've got them there, and we will hit export. And what's that's going to do is create you a PNG file, and we need to save that somewhere where you're going to be able to find it within Tabletop Simulator. So I'm going to store it in the same folder as the card images, and it'll be the only PNG in there actually. So that's that done. So I'm going to pause the video here and do this for all my decks, and then I'll see you in Tabletop Simulator in a few seconds. So here we are over in Tabletop Simulator. and you can see I've already added Fumbled Searches, Wilderland Voyages, Challenge Deck, and my Reward Deck. And I'll quickly show you how you do these. You could hover over it and press R, if I remember rightly, which shuffles it, and you just pull one off, hit F to flip, and then we can hit Alt to have a zoom in and see what we've got. You could discard that, flip it over, or drop it back on the deck. Same with the heroic challenges, flip those. Let's have a closer look. There we go, looking really nice and crisp. Flip that, pop that back. Here are the dungeon discoveries. Flip that. Let's have a closer look. So really clear, nice looking cards. Now if we'd have used Imager, they would have been really difficult to see and not as clear. So I think uploading them to the tabletop cloud is the best way to do it, which is what I'm going to show you now. Let's just take a look at the Fumbled Searches. Flip that and hold down Alt to have a better look, or your mouse wheel can zoom in and out as well. So looking really nice. So all we do is you go up to Objects, Components, Cards, and a Custom Deck. For some reason it won't let me drop it down here. I have to drop it on this shelf, so I'm going to drop it on this shelf up here and then right click on it, which brings up this customization window. So we want the face, so that's this strange PNG we created earlier. So the only deck I haven't made yet is my Curious Treasures. So I'm going to go in here, and there's that PNG we made with all the images in it. So I'll click on that, select. Now here we don't. If you're only going to be playing this solo and no one else is ever going to see this in your game, then you can click local. But if you're going to invite players and have a multiplayer game, you're best clicking cloud, and then all your players who join you can see it. So hit cloud and then hit upload, and that'll upload it to the cloud space that you've got in Tabletop Simulator. While that's uploading, let's go choose the back here, and there's the back JPEG that I printed earlier from the PDF, but hopefully we'll get them as separate JPEGs from Loresmyth. So select that, same again, upload to the cloud. Now down here, leave these the same, because if you remember rightly, we created a 10x7 grid in the little software that we used earlier, but we need to tell it how many cards. Now if I remember rightly, there are 50 cards in that deck, so change that to 50 and hit import, and if all goes well, it's thinking about it, and there we go, bring them over here. Now what you might find is if your images are too big, as in size, you might crash Tabletop Simulator there. So what I've had to do for some of these decks, because I printed them at such a large size, I had to go back into a photo editing software and just reduce the size of them a little bit. That didn't seem to be a problem for the dungeon discoverers. It was the heroic challenges. I don't know if they're a slightly bigger PDF, but for some reason the JPEGs I printed were of a much bigger size, so I had to reduce the size of them. But it seems these dungeon discoveries load up no problem. And let's take a look. Let's grab one, flip it with F, Alt, and there we go. Look at that, lovely. I've got a fiery red. Ooh, fiery red dryad figurine. So there you go. Pop them on each other, flip them over, and what you might want to do is right click and rename that deck. So I've got my Curious Treasures, and when you hover over that, it tells you exactly what it is. So there we go. I've got a nice little collection of Loresmyth decks in my Tabletop Simulator. So this is, I'll show you around a little bit, this is the table I use for playing my solo games. So I've got the GM's Apprentice, Mythic GM emulator in here, the Adventure Crafter, and all the dice I need. I'm currently doing a Forbidden Lands solo. So if you want to see that and see me use these, make sure you like and subscribe, and watch some of my future videos using the Loresmyth decks in my solo games. Hope you like that.